Name's Gareth Rowlands. Live in a small town called Greenville in Tennessee. Work at a store called Honda Morristown in Morristown, Tennessee. New to that area in general. I've worked there since not this past April, but the year before, so 14 months, I believe. Still don't know too much about Morristown. Getting to be a built-up area. We've got a lot of things being built up around the store, but really in love with the area. Nice, quaint countryside, and a very, very good, passionate customer base. Originally from an island called Anglesey in North Wales, in the United Kingdom. Come over to America on a little bit of an athletic scholarship. Ended up playing college football at a place called Tusculum College, which is in Greenville. Met my wife there. Graduated with an education degree. Worked in education for a couple of years. Wasn't quite fulfilling the competitive nature or the atmosphere that I was looking for, so I hopped into the car industry on a limb. Became a inventory manager. Got to know the industry a little bit more. Went from there, became the customer relations manager. Obviously got involved with service there after that. After about 3.5 years, ended up at a dispatch desk as a service manager, and then moved from that role to Honda Morristown as their fixed operations director. Leaving my parents and my brothers at the age of 16 to come to a country that I didn't really know a thing about, especially going from the UK to Tennessee was a huge cultural difference for me. It was a leap of faith. I didn't really know too much about it, and it was a decision that was made, and I was on a plane within a week. So that whole process was taken by a good faith message, if you will, from my coach of the international basketball squad that I represented. So I played international basketball, represented Wales. Todd Stone was his name. He went to the King's Academy, which was where I went to high school. So we had some conversations, decided, hey, this is what I want to try and do. This is where I want to try and get to. And based off of his recommendations was how I got to the King's Academy. So your life in 2 suitcases as a 16-year-old child, traveling across the world with some traveler's checks and some cash, to really think, hey, what are you doing here? What's in your future? Was a difficult time. I look back on it now, and I'm probably a little bit more emotional now to think of that huge decision, being that I have a 2-year-old little daughter. So it'd be hard for me to imagine letting her go at 16 to travel to another country. But my mum and dad were super supportive, supported the decision, backed me 100%. And that was definitely a tough time in my life, but it turned into some positives. Obviously, studied my socks off in high school. Realized that correlation between athletics and academics was a big part of success. So ended up in a very, very good situation at Tusculum. Represented Tusculum as their kicker for 4 years. Started as a freshman there. So there was a lot of highs and lows in that situation as well. Similar to a fixed op situation, you go from 0 to 0, from the 30th or the 31st to the 1st. You can finish on an all-time high 1 month, and then you have to start all over again. It's the same life as a kicker. You can make a game-winning field goal one game and then clink one off the uprights the next, and you're the villain of the town. So definitely some highs and lows at Tusculum, but ended up on a positive. Shortly after that, hit an all-time low. I lost my brother in 2013, and that was a tough situation. So flew home in an emergency situation. Had to say my final goodbyes to him, and that's a tough situation. He left a son behind, my nephew Kyle, we were a very tight-knit family. I'm the baby of the group. All of us were raised in a very competitive athletic environment. So if we were playing golf, it was no holds barred. There were no gimmies in our family. You were finishing every hole out. If we were playing soccer or football, as we like to call it, it was rough and tumble. So there was no friendly play whatsoever. So all the records set forward by my brothers were there to be broken, expected to be broken by myself, and that's really the mentality that we had growing up. Was if you're not the best, it's not good enough. My dad was a military guy, and that's really the expectation we had as brothers and as and children of my dad's was, hey, I'm breeding you to be a champion, and it's expected. That's probably an all-time low. But you keep your memories fond and keep pushing forward and try and represent him in the best way that we possibly can. So, yeah, being a leader and a boss, I much prefer to have the reputation of being a worker for my staff. My staff don't work for me; I work for them, and that's a true philosophy that comes from our general manager. From Daniel, the platform GM as well, and honestly all the way down from ownership. I mean, the Hudson organization has truly instilled those philosophies within all of us, I believe, to where we serve our staff, we instill that passion in them, and let's face it, if we're passionate enough to believe something in a certain way, and we can achieve that buy-in from our staff members as well. To where they understand that we appreciate them, we know their family, we know what's going on in their lives, and we take that in and display that compassion to them and buy into them. They're going to buy into us, and when we represent that as a company for our customers to then come in and see just how passionate we are to serve them, to serve our organization, it becomes a very, very powerful thing, and it's hard not to feel that when you come to the store. So that's the biggest thing for me is I don't believe I'm anybody's boss. I'm a co-worker. I work for my staff, and that's what I'm most passionate about. I may be a different animal than most, and it may be the ADD or ADHD that rolls through my body on a daily basis. But my favorite thing to do in the morning is to try and jump out and scare as many of my staff members as I possibly can. So I'll hide around corners, I'll hide behind tinted glass or whatever I have to do, and I'll pick off at least 6 people as they come in the morning to just give them a nice welcoming good morning to Honda Morristown. So that's honestly one of my favorite things to do. From there, we blast the tunes, get everybody get everybody to the point to where we're operating. And by now it's just something that they expect. If I'm quiet, if the store's quiet in the morning, that they know something's wrong or I'm not feeling too well, because that's just the culture of the store, and it's a very, very fun environment. I'm an athlete. I like to think that's in my blood. So to me, getting up in the morning and driving to work is just another game day, and it's game day every day. So that sort of atmosphere to where we have that build up of pre-game, getting everybody there, getting your team talks done, and when the doors come open, it's game time, it's showtime. So that's really the atmosphere that we build at our store.
What would it mean to you to win the $50,000 challenge, and what would you do with it?
It would mean a tremendous amount, and I know that sounds very cliche, but being in the situation that I am, where I still feel young in the industry, I still feel like there's a lot of room to grow, a lot of untouched areas of development within my own rights. It's an absolute honor just to be here, for one. To win the entire competition would take it to another level, and I believe it would just be something to expand upon. I truly believe anybody can win something one time, but it's the continuation there afterwards is really going to determine the winner. So that's what I'm going to focus on more, is taking this experience, win or not. Hopefully we do, but win or not, to me, the proving grounds is what's going to come in the next 12 months, to really lay that foundation and establish the foundation that we've already built, to continue to build on it and prove that this wasn't just a lucky happening, to prove that Honda Morristown is one of the top dog stores, to prove that we are the best in the industry, just like an athlete would. So that's, to me, winning the competition would mean everything in the world. It would be our Super Bowl. That's exactly what it would be. But to me personally, the continuation there afterwards, building a dynasty, would be much more important. What I do with it, I'd have to ask the wife first. I have a gorgeous wife and a beautiful 2-year-old girl, which I'm sure they would find some way of being able to take advantage of the extra funds. What I want for my daughter more than anything is to set the foundation and principles that honesty and integrity will overcome almost everything. And if you're as honest and transparent with your work ethic, that you devote yourself to something, that you work for a higher purpose, that absolutely anything is possible.